The thing that you want to be careful with, and here's some things that I want you to avoid, is don't create for a vanity-oriented partnership that it actually needs to create meaningful value to both of you, and over-reliance on one single partner in the relationship, because that gives them too much power. And also it just is a problem dynamic, especially if they end up having some kind of problem, or the partner that you have a relationship over there changes, your business is too reliant on it. It's the same idea that you would have of a problem with revenue concentration in one given client, an anchor client. Misalignment on expectations of what's kind of going on, and exactly what is the mutual benefit that's supposed to happen, exactly how that relationship is supposed to play out, and or making it feel like the relationship is a favor. Like, it needs to be like truly mutually beneficial to you and to them. Hey everyone, in tough economic times, most people get protective. They pull in, they end up cutting ties, and they try to go it alone. But the agencies that thrive, they don't isolate. They end up partnering. They have a good community. And so in this episode, I want to talk about how to build strategic partnerships that actually drive revenue, the kind that makes your work more impactful, increases client value, and is able to deepen ultimately your expertise. And it's not these like affiliate-oriented models that like you're paying a percentage of the revenue to someone to send you people, but I want to talk about how to choose the right partners, who they are, that allows for you to have mutual relationship benefit, and how to be able to position yourself in this kind of multiplier ecosystem, if you will. So let's talk about the different types of partnerships that are available. So you've got like the strategic partner versus an affiliate partner. So the affiliate tends to be very transactional, where it's just here's a percentage of revenue that we are going to be sharing. Whereas strategic is going to be more value oriented. So how you can go about doing so. And I'll give you some examples of them later. And then the reality of the strategic versus the affiliate is it tends to be more where there's like complementary expertise, right? So it might be you have the fractional CBO or fractional CMO that is then having an execution team. You have the research partner to the UX agency. So it's like those types of pieces that allow for you to be able to increase, and they have complementary expertise where they have their specific lane that they work incredibly well in, but the work that you do makes their work more impactful, and vice versa. There's the component of this that allows for you to be able to have meaningful kind of pipeline builders where you're able to do long-term co-marketing together. They are able to send you referrals. You're able to send them out. You're able to also do kind of these bundle-oriented offers where you're even able to pitch on work, RFPs, and that sort of work together. That allows for you to be able to do ideally this final end up piece, right? It's like bringing in revenue in the front door, but also how do you continue to allow for you to be able to upsell both of you and being able to have retention within the work. So being able to send work kind of back and forth between each other. And again, like I said, I'll talk about a couple of examples. I want to talk about why this is really useful now is that the world and the economy is feeling a lot of pressure in a huge way. And this fear-based mindset ends up creating for a lot of people feeling a lot less collaborative. But it is in these moments that collaboration actually is more meaningful, and it ends up becoming a meaningful differentiator if you're using it in the right way. Clients can be more cautious, as they should be, but they really want to be able to mitigate risk. And how you're able to do that is having people with a very deep amount of expertise in a specific area that allows for you able to have these co-working oriented relationships with someone that allows for both of your work to be less risky, more impactful. You have a premier partner that you're actually working with. And these relationships allow for you to be able to send business back and forth. It makes access easier for the client. It makes access easier for you. And it makes things just generally better from a value-oriented perspective across the entire transaction. Now, the way that I want you to start to think about these strategic partners is a couple of things. So first is an obvious piece is that they need to have a shared audience. So they need to be working with the same type of client, but they do need to have a different specialty. They shouldn't be another agency working in the exact same space that is doing the exact same type of work that is ultimately just a competing agency. It should be someone that is complementary. They should also have aligned values and same types of communication standards, the way that they engage with the clients, the way that they are working with them. Are they working alongside them? Do they have open Slack channels? Are they the ones that have weekly meetings? Do they have certain like response cadences? Are they more of a partner collaborator? Are they more of a deliverable oriented shop? So like like, how do they view the work and how do they value the collaboration that they have? Do they see you as competition as well? So are they a person that is more open and free in the way that they look at the value that each one of you are bringing to the table and how that allows for things to work meaningfully? And it allows for you to start to see the way that you might actually engage in this potential partnership. So again, first key point is they have to have the same audience. They shouldn't have the same type of specialty. And there needs to be commonality between values and the way that they deliver, because those are the same types of clients that you're going to be able to manage back and forth. And so I'm going to give a couple of some examples of partnerships that I've seen be really meaningful. So here's one where you may have a PE firm and a branding campaign agency. That PE firm just made an acquisition. They are needing a better go-to-market strategy and brand lift, a rebrand. And that specific entity that they just acquired, so allowing for the money that they invested to be more impactful for that firm, the business that they just acquired. So it allows for their capital to become worth more over time. So that allows for you to have impact to them. They are consistently looking out for new deals, for new businesses to acquire that are largely going to need the same kind of set, but you're working with them in tandem that allows for them to feel comfortable with who they're working with, allow for them to feel like they're able to get the value out of it, that you have a clean understanding of the types of businesses that they're ultimately investing in. Very frequently partners within these larger PE firms that they are working in a specific segment within a specific industry because they have that understanding. Another example is a research firm and a UX or UI agency. So this is a really useful utility one where you've got a research firm that is going through user testing, that is going through focus groups, that is going through this collection of information. And then you've got an agency that is actually doing the design elements of that research. So you've got the research that's giving guidance to what they should be doing. And then you've got the design team that is actually implementing the findings from that research. And so you actually have the ability to be able to send the client back and forth between each. And that's just another example. And another example might be a marketing or demand gen agency and like a fractional sales team kind of company, right? So there's loads of different examples of how this can function. I'm giving you a couple of ways to like think about it, but the core of what I'm saying here, right, that I want you to be thinking about is like this like true strategic partner. So the example of the PE firm and the agency is that you're actually creating more meaningful value for both of them. Like you're creating value for the PE firms, the firm that they acquired, whether wholly or a portion of them, but allowing for them to achieve their goals. And you're getting consistent referrals or introductions vis-a-vis those relationships that they are fostering. Same thing is true with the research firm, is that you're implementing design and you're able to then send them to the research firm to then confirm how did that design actually have impact to the way that user sentiment, user stick rates, the amount of engagement that they're having, all those sorts of pieces. They do the research that then informs more design elements that are going in. So you're sending clients back and forth between them. One of the things that became really useful, and this is a true life example in an agency client, that they were then able to even do as part of a new research client that the firm would bring on, that they would actually involve themselves at the final stage of that research while it was presenting. So here's the research that they found, and then here is how we would go about implementing it. And there's research firms that focus more in brand. There's ones that focus more in user engagement and that sort of thing. So there's loads of different research firms, but just understanding what exactly is their specialty and how it actually overlaps with you. The thing I really want you to understand here is kind of the things that work and why they don't, is being really clear on the role that the agency has and the partner has. So like, where do you start and stop in the client engagement? That they have to come to this relationship with a meaningful collaborative mindset, that you each have value to bring to the table, to them and to the client, and that they're not a competitor. So they need to actually allow for you to be at the room and have a seat at the table. The co-created relationships that you're having. So it's really, really important that especially at the start of any one of these partnerships, that the partner and you are creating for a meaningful outcome with the client. So how that client feels about the introduction that was made, it has a meaningful amount of reputation component to it for you and for them. So it's really important that you're having the right amount of check-ins, that there's shared goals, that there's shared planning, that there's shared overlap, that there's an understanding. Frankly, I don't know that you could overly communicate in this phase, especially at the start, allowing for things to be really purposeful in the way that you're engaging with them. The thing that you want to be careful with, and here's some things that I want you to avoid, is don't create for a vanity-oriented partnership, that it actually needs to create meaningful value to both of you, and over-reliance on one single partner in the relationship, because that gives them too much power. And also it just is a problem dynamic, especially if they end up having some kind of problem, or the partner that you have a relationship over there changes, your business is too reliant on it. It's the same idea that you would have of a problem with revenue concentration in one given client, an anchor client. Misalignment on expectations of what's kind of going on and exactly what is the mutual benefit that's supposed to happen, exactly how that relationship is supposed to play out, and or making it feel like the relationship is a favor. Like it needs to be like truly mutually beneficial to you and to them and to the client, that it should have this triangle where each of the three different parts of the triangle are actually lifting up together. Strategic partnerships are not just about shared clients, they're about shared outcomes to them. And right now, the agencies that are getting this right are being able to grow in a meaningful way while a lot of others are stagnating in the current market. So I want you to think about who are the experts, the firms, the platforms, the services that have a meaningful value increase to the work that you are doing, or that you're able to do the same thing to the work that they are doing. Start there. So who's the overlap in audience? And then what types of services have this value trade that is increasing the work that you do and that you can increase the work that they do? The next, really, truly, this is a huge growth lever that you can use to be able to grow smarter, to have more meaningful collaborations, meaningful co-marketing that allows for you to be able to have a meaningful amount of growth without having to just really being out there pounding pavement to bring in new leads. Hey everyone, thank you so much for listening in today. With all of the shifts in the industry, it is easy to feel overwhelmed or unsure of your next move. So I'm not here to try to sell you anything. I just want to give back and guide you through the uncertainty. Whether you're navigating new trends or just need some clarity, we're here to listen and offer advice. Head to creativeagencysuccess.com/chat to book a free 15-minute chat with an agency mentor who can provide you with a fresh perspective. Let's figure out the best steps for your agency's growth together.